we're going to call this meeting to order, this work session. Would you please stand with me for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Play ball.
Thanks everybody for coming on a Saturday. We have a quorum, board members, and thank everybody else for being here too. We're gonna, oh, there she is. Hi, Rachel. Okay, I guess we're gonna start with Rachel Amos for the Oregon Department of Education answer to number 3A, charter school district to public school district.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Great. So I just wanted to share some information that I received from Kristen Kelly, who is the charter school specialist from ODE. Similar to what Chris had shared at the last board meeting, that was the information that I had gotten from her, but I just also wanted to give a couple of pieces that I didn't know about. One of the things that she talked about was, of course, the paperwork, which we were familiar with a lot of the paperwork from when we went from a single school charter to a full district charter. So I think we're pretty familiar with that. I told her I didn't have any concerns there, that we would be able to do the asset transfer and the institution ID correction for Highland if we made that change and so forth. That part wasn't very difficult, in my opinion, but the two pieces that I was unaware of was that when we are talking about going to a public school and we're talking about the 3% cap, the 3% cap only applies to virtual charters and not brick and mortar charters. So we cannot stop any movement of our students in our district going to any brick and mortar charter school. And of course, the 3% cap on virtual is still appealable to ODE. So really it depends on whether ODE is going to uphold those appeals or, weigh in favor of the district when those appeals go to them from the parents of the district. The other part, and I don't know if we have the data on this or not, this one was a real surprise to me. If we have any students that are in our district right now that are from other districts, as soon as we go to a public school, they immediately have to leave our school and go back to their district and either register in their district or get an inter-district transfer. And it is up to that district to approve that inter-district transfer or not, because we are no longer a charter. They have to get an inter-district transfer. So those were the two pieces to me that I thought, oh, well, we might want to find out some more information on that. I don't know the data on the schools, the students in our school right now that are from out of district, but that is also a piece of information that's important to, I think, look into. Are there any questions for me that maybe I didn't share that we had at the board meeting that I was supposed to ask and I didn't respond to?
Do they have any questions for Rachel? Will you get that information? Where will, rephrase that. The students that we have that are already out of the district into our district, I don't know if we have any, but.
That would be our office manager.
Office manager.
I'm not too worried about that list, but we can get a list of how many students that is.
Okay, I was just curious about that population.
I know we have a couple.
Who's
Area.
Are they staff?
No,
Do we know why they're here?
no.
They just enrolled in.
I know that one has a grandma that owns a shop downtown, so that's why she comes. I don't know about the other one.
They're actually enrolled in our school.
Yes.
So there's a couple.
A couple.
There's one other thing I didn't talk about at that meeting because I didn't think about it exactly. I mean, I knew that there were ramifications beyond what I discussed at least at that meeting. And that's that if we did change it's kind of a corollary to it that this board and future boards would be saddled with a determination of a policy towards when transfers are gonna be granted and when they're not gonna be granted. So are we gonna be strict and just say, I mean, and it would be, you know, beginning with this board, I guess. And then future boards could alter that policy, I suppose, or I don't even know if it'd be a formal policy, but inter-district transfers are now granted or not granted, or based on what, just arbitrary criteria? Would they, I mean, is that the way it would be, or is there some sort of policy guideline?
Usually IDPs are approved by the superintendents of the two.
Superintendent individually?
Superintendent,
So they would
superintendent
provide-
has to follow the intention, direction,
Right.
guidance of his board.
Of the board,
Yeah.
okay. So that's something to think about, you know. There's gonna be some cases where it probably makes sense to allow it, you know, I mean, there could be special circumstances, that, you know, we're not trying to over control the school population. I wouldn't think so, I mean, I wouldn't want to. But if you're not, I guess, committed enough to it that you are lenient in that part of the enrollment stabilization wouldn't work. I mean, it implies that there would be some backbone in it, let's put it that way. Again, that'll depend on individual board members and future boards and future superintendent, whatever. I mean, it's just a first step in determining whether or not that's the way we want to go. And I don't think I presented it any way different than that. But that's the only thing I could come up with. That was my best idea.
How do, other districts have a timeline, say you've got somebody from Florence wants to come to Reedsport, is there a timeline that, that district has to work within in order to grant, a child coming from another district to ours?
Reasonable what? I mean, most expectations are you would have a decision completed within 10 days. I don't know the exact number of days, but there's a general expectation that you give a reasonable response and a reasonable timeline.
Why is it 10 days, not 5? You know, I mean,
Well, let's to give the superintendent time to get to it.
Yeah, superintendent's so busy, I was gone for a week,
yeah,
and so the neighboring superintendent's waiting for me to get back.
okay.
You just have to operate within reason.
Okay, so chain of command then, say if you were out for surgery or something, you were out for distance with the next in line. Have the
If
ability.
that was, a designee was granted, most of your policies you have say superintendent or designee in a lot of cases. So you designate that to another person in the office.
Questions? Suggestions? Ideas?
Is there a form that they fill out, like with the reasoning why they want to come here?
It's brief. And when we talk about this, and I know ADs talk about it all the time, because the most common reason students really want to transfer high school is usually sports related. They want in or out of a program. But USA does not allow them to transfer for sports, and so families usually say things like, my child's being bullied. Literally, because there's just a little tiny space. What's an easy thing? You can say it's a hot button that'll call attention. And then when the ADs get together and say, have you heard about John's Wimpy being bullied? No, he's never brought it to our office once. They have no idea what this is. But so people put whatever they want on the forms, and it's just a little bit of space to put it in for a reason.
We're talking about transfers in, mostly the concern is transfers out. I mean, I heard you guys said people want to transfer into the district. I think that at least I'm more concerned about people transferring out of the
Well,
district.
that's true too. I'm so hoping that we could get to the point where they want to come to us.
Yeah. Well, no, I agree, but
Yeah.
one thing at a time, you know.
Yeah.
So, looking also at the charter versus no charter, we had 6 full-time teachers at one time, like within the last 5 years, that were charter teachers. that we would not have those 6 teachers if we were not a charter. Plus 2 others are part-time charter teachers that we would not have, so that's 8 teachers in my building alone. We currently have 3 part-time teachers that equal 7 periods. That would go away. I learned yesterday about the district sub-license, which will help the sub situation when a teacher calls in sick, last minute, if a child's sick. We have registered teachers that go into the classrooms. Amber Corcoran is one, for example. Like, hey, Amber, I know you're an IA, and we need you in this room today.
Remember,
Sorry. So that would be one example. They do have the district sub-license, which allows you 10 days in a designed area of instruction for a teacher, but then you have to miss a day. And so if we went under where we're at right now, we have 3 teachers that would be able to serve in that role for 10 days, and then we'd have to find 3 subs for the 11th day. And then also, depending on the family and how bad they want out of our district, if they were denied because of the cap, there's nothing stopping them from going to homeschooling.
So Chair, are there any of the teachers that you have now that are working towards getting their certification as a fully licensed teacher?
I believe one has completed, but I haven't seen any paperwork on it. The other 2, no.
No.
And one's been a very long time teacher for culinary.
What incentives are there for them to become certified?
Well, if they had full-time job, would probably be one.
Yeah.
And then we have tuition reimbursement up to a certain point for teachers as well.
Can I also add to that, there is a pay scale attached to the certified contract. If you're a registered teacher, you move up 5 steps, I think you can move up, but then you have to stop. There's no moving up after that. So an incentive would be better pay to continue to move up that pay scale.
There'd be a time period if we decided to go public. Can they still teach for a year, 2 years?
no.
No. So on day 1, they'd have to be gone.
We have to have properly licensed people for positions we put them in, and there are several types of licenses through TSPC, but it would make us more restricted in the types of licenses we could accept. Slightly more restrictive, as Jerry's describing.
And when we first got here, John, Amanda, and I went to recruiting places. One of the biggest ones is in Portland. It was stacked. I might have met somebody there. But we went 2 or 3 years later, it was a ghost town. Like, there was no, I was a history teacher. We were a dime a dozen. You couldn't find one anywhere. It's just weird how
They're not
things are
teaching anymore, or
just, I don't know if that was just like right post-COVID and they didn't have enough that went, or if the people that went were online. But there was, I mean, we were there up until I think they closed it at 4:30. I mean, they have a big drawing for computer and all sorts of stuff. And we were there to the end. We could have shut down, I think they opened the doors at 10, we could shut down at 12:30. There's nobody there.
I think something that we saw, experienced at that point, is a lot of people left the profession around the time of COVID, just retirement and various reasons, and education was not and may not be a highly pursued professional degree in colleges and universities. We know that finding special education teachers, for example, is almost impossible. Nobody's going into those programs. Who are being paid a premium by large districts who can effectively pay a whole lot more. And so there are certain degrees and licenses in particular that are very hard to find. We're required to have a licensed media specialist in Oregon, and there's a few ways for us to work around that, but they're going to offer that degree anywhere in Oregon. It comes from out of state. So education in the universities is becoming less desirable of a program of study that people are pursuing, and certain degrees on top of that are even tougher to find. So a ghost town and a premium.
Case in point, my daughter, she went to Western, got an education. I told her not to do it, but she did it anyway. She subbed, she couldn't get a full-time job. This is like 2008, 2007. And she subbed for a 5th grade class in the Valley and started crying. She was just like blown away. Didn't even do it. Went a different route. But she incurred 60 grand in debt, right? And I think that's the big driver, is a lot of people aren't. I make 30 grand a year when I have 60,000 in debt, you know, and it's tough.
So when, that was during COVID when you guys went for that? Do they still have?
Right after.
Right after
Right
COVID?
before and right after.
They still offer it. We haven't been back since, just because it hasn't felt like a good use of time to send 3 administrators out for 2 days trying to recruit. And the turnaround was poor. If we had lots of applicants, we felt like there were lots of positions, and we felt there was going to be lots of applicants. It might be worth the time, but it hasn't felt like it's been worth the time since.
Really disappointing. Any other thoughts, ideas, questions?
Well, if that's the trend, then it's obvious it's either online or it's homeschool.
We've seen a big uptick.
Yep. I mean,
COVID has taught people
teachers aren't
different
gonna be
alternatives to
available.
how they can get their education, and the online trend has really gone upward since in the last 5 years.
So
Which is the majority of the motivation for why I brought this up. My guess is that it continues. I mean, it's hard to know with certainty, but you're right, that if anybody, that they can devalue the non-charter status by adopting homeschooling versus online schooling, certified schooling, I guess, is the difference between online and homeschooling. I mean, they certify it in some manner. Does that mean that a kid that signs up for an online certified program, the program gets reimbursed by the state?
The program is able to access state dollars, and not all the programs out there are credentialed the way they make themselves out to be.
But homeschool parents don't, because it's not a voucher system, correct?
Yeah, they don't know that.
So they can figure it out, they're not gonna get any money, I mean. So the online resources that are credentialed could find ways to enhance tuition programs to, you know, bring students in, and it won't cost us the 3% or whatever, 2 or 3%, is that more or less true?
At 3%, last year, we were very successful with our denials because there's requirements. So once we hit our 3% and start saying no to transfer requests, that would work to kind of answer what Rachel alluded to. It's not guaranteed. I mean, you still have an appeal process, and he still makes a decision, but we would be a lot more successful if we were
As
not charged.
on-school, credentialed on-school programs increase in population, probably the trend continues, is my guess.
Yeah.
Why would they switch back? That's a kind of losing proposition if they do.
I'm no business specialist. I think the market is pretty saturated with those online, and they're for profit. And I think there's a limited pool of how many more kids are going to pull into those things unless the marketing trends or marketing schemes they use changes greatly. So how to regain some of those kids who have left us is our trick. I don't know that I don't know about that.
So you think the enrollment threat then is mostly inter-district?
No, I think our biggest issue this year has been the online virtual charters.
Okay.
I don't think we've seen great fluctuation. I mean, we'll show you an enrollment reports here in a bit. I don't think we've seen great fluctuation in local transfers.
How does that work? A student has a history class, they're online, they go through the curriculum, they do chapter tests, they send the test to a grading person. It's not a registered teacher?
It's an online test, they can do it on the computer, so.
Right.
Google or ChatGPT.
Yeah, there's speculation, we've got kids doing it, who are Googling their answers on their phone and completing the material, and probably not gaining a superior education because they can move through very quickly.
So, like, my point then is, if they're going virtual, no teachers, registered teachers, are in that process.
It depends on the program.
Yeah,
Depends on
the programs have to have teachers. Not all of the teachers are Oregon credentialed, but they have to have somebody in. So if you're the student and you're taking history, you mostly read what you see, you answer questions on the computer, you move through. If you get stuck, you probably email your teacher, say, hey, what does blah, blah, blah mean? And when the teacher emails you back, then you can keep going in what you're trying to learn.
Okay, so then they start out as a sophomore, freshman, junior, senior, 3 years, they're in the online. And then it's up to Reachport to give them a graduation certificate if they complete it?
Sponsoring school district for that online is probably the one giving them the degree or the diploma. So if Newport School District has an online charter and a student completes the online charter, if they're Oregon credentialed, might have their own diploma, or it may be a Newport School District diploma because they're the sponsoring district for that online program. Kind of either or.
So that we get, if they're using our district, and we get state funds for that.
If we had an online charter, like an
We
online
would.
virtual version, we would.
I've had offers from online charters in the 8 years, and I've turned them down because I've only ever seen it as a shell game. They want to keep the highest percentage of the state ADM. So if they go to North Bend says, we'll give you 95% of the ADM, and they come to me, I say, well, I'll give you 96% of the ADM. They'll come to me for as long as I have the best offer for them, because they'll get money out of me than they would North Bend. And when they can find a better deal, then they'll pack up and move because they're remote.
There's a couple of new online programs that people are working on within our district to offset the one that we have. Is that right?
We're adding Acellus as one of our option providers, and that'll help us when we make denials if we have a full number of online options for a family so they don't have to leave the actual program.
Is this a trend nationwide? Or is this kind of more in Oregon?
That's a good question, Bob. I know it's an Oregon trend because I hear our Oregon superintendents talk about it. I can't speak to the national trend. I would speculate it's probably a national trend, but that's a guess.
There is less students across the nation
Absolutely.
that are in schools.
And it's gonna get worse.
Well, yeah, I found that out.
A unique thing that I learned a couple of years ago is that when students were online, then we came back after COVID, they have figured out that they can stay home 4 or 5 days, do the work that's on Google Classroom, then come in 1 or 2 days a week. Every 10 days, 9 days before they get dropped, which I can't remember the guy that had the numbers, but he was from ODE and was talking to us in a conference. A different trend when we look at school.
So how is attendance tracked through online?
They all do it a little bit differently, but you're supposed to have daily attendance. And so if they check that you are logged in, check how much work you do, they expect you to phone call or email, it's kind of dependent on that program.
Well, they can program the computer just to open up the damn website. I mean, what a scam, right?
stand firm that I think 90% of people doing online work are losing valuable education. And maybe 10% are doing it successfully to their benefit. And so, yes, you're right. I think they're cheating on their phone. I don't think they're participating. I think in some cases, parents do it for them. I'll say that out loud. I think only 10% are probably truly gaining an education that's worthwhile through this type of work.
Plus the social component. Move from all that. We're isolating kids more. They get on the computers and spend all day on games and shit, and now we're isolating them more. It's like,
There's a lot of value.
raising zombies.
You can't do anything about that. If people could go online and get educated, I mean, there's nothing that this district can do about it. All we can do is try to re-rig the rules so that we don't get hurt as bad. That's the way I see it. And
I agree.
that's it. It's, it's open enrollment, it's, school choice, all those movements are in place pretty much everywhere. I mean, there might be some resistance. Some places are trying to roll it back a little bit, but I think it's the genie's out of the bottle on that one. It would be pretty hard. And this little district, there are some advantages, believe it or not. I'm not all doom and gloom. There are some advantages here. Okay, so here's a scenario for you. If enrollment in Oregon is declining significantly, which it is, and I read a thing that Salem District has 3,500 graduating seniors this year, 2,500 kindergartners. They're going to lose 20 to 30% of their enrollment in the next 6 or 7 years. I can't remember what they quoted. That's a big deal, okay? And other districts are facing the same thing. There's multiple mid-year layoffs occurring statewide right now. Read about Springfield. That's the one that's kind of closest to us. And I think they laid off 29 teachers last week or 2 weeks ago or something like that. And one of the board members quit because she said her life was threatened, and et cetera, et cetera. So this is going on, but let's just say it is. And so the bigger districts, Portland's way down, and Mills is going to continue to go down. If that enrollment is dropping, but a smaller district like ours, as a percentage of its enrollment, even if it's still dropping, but it stays relatively higher than those other districts, they lose 10%, we lose 2 or 3. We should be getting more money at some point, by quite a bit, actually. Not a little bit, by quite a bit, if they're honest about the distribution of the property taxes they receive from our districts, which I'm starting to wonder how that's being accounted for, because that almost has to be a certainty that those districts whose percentage enrollment decline is less than others should get more money, and at some point should be getting quite a bit more money. So
the property taxes offset the money we get from the state each year. So if we're slated for a $10 million budget, we're going to get $1 million in property taxes, then we'll get $9 million from the state because we're getting $1 million in property taxes. So, and because that county assessor is saying, here's your property taxes for the year, and the state knows it, and they only give us the $9 million. I don't know how the property tax, I'm not sure on that part.
they collect all the property taxes from all school districts in the state.
But
I
it's
believe.
based on the county, right? Not
The
the
property
state.
taxes get paid to the district, and then the state says, we know you got $1 million, so we're only gonna give you
It comes in here
$9
first,
million
and
to
then they make up the
you whole at 10,
difference?
To make you whole at 10.
There you go.
And Rachel, I
I didn't know
don't know
that.
if you're still on, and I'm hopefully saying that correctly, but we only get paid the difference after our property taxes. Were you tracking that conversation? Yeah.
Alex said that's correct, even
Yeah,
though she
okay.
did.
Okay, I'll buy that.
But we send,
Yeah.
whatever's collected in Reedsport, we send to Roseburg, and then Roseburg sends it back, right?
Well, right, they collect it in Roseburg, the county.
And at the reduced rate, whatever it is, based on what the state says, what Salem says.
Yeah, the state
So-
pays after we get our taxes.
So Salem sets the
No.
funding level, but even then, my point about percentages is probably right. I think that math still works.
Yeah, the denominator being smaller for the amount of money in the state pool, then that formula should pay us higher. And Rachel, I think, is probably going to point out, we estimate what we think we're going to get in our taxes for the year, because then we get our revenue for the state, and then after the year is over, they will, what's the word? They'll
Rebalance. Yeah.
Reconcile.
Yeah.
They set the funding level based on their statewide budget then,
Yeah.
and subtract the property taxes from it to determine.
We get paid, and then we reconcile the following year. It's a 3-year process.
Well,
I was actually looking up the numbers to see, to Chris's point, what our state school fund estimate is for next year, because they came out yesterday and I see the state already pulled them down, so they must have been wrong. I'm just like, oh my gosh. So they're not there anymore.
On state level funding than I knew, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And that's not good.
And it's an equalization formula. I mean, Reedsport used to be one of the richest districts in the state with
Well,
all the
that's
timber
because we
money.
had IP.
Measure 5, yeah. And then, now that we're equalizing and paying per student,
Measure 5 probably ended up working for us at this point, but it wouldn't have back then. Yeah,
Reedsport, great.
districts in the state.
You know,
Maybe- go ahead.
what- I wonder about, talking about the property taxes, knowing, I know what my properties are taxed up, and I think it's exorbitant for the little house that I'm in. But how many people, seniors in particular, that are in that same boat, that defer their taxes, which means the county's not getting those. So how does that,
It's factored in.
yeah.
It's factored in. It's treated as a non-collected tax until it's.
We have to make our best guess estimate. We look at trends. Josh and Rachel look at trends. And what do we average, Rachel? Like 94 to 97% kind of that trend on collection?
92 to 97%. And then we report with our actuals with our audit every year. We upload all of the data from our audit and it tells the actuals that we receive. And that's when they rebalance the state school fund and they go by the actuals we receive for the year and they make adjustments to our state school fund accordingly to the local revenue that we have received.
I would guess that deferrals are treated as uncollected taxes, yeah, for this purpose.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
And then eventually, theoretically, when the houses get sold, it's a deferral. It's
Right.
not an
It's
elimination.
not, yeah, exactly.
They kind of catch up, but that's, who knows when that is. I mean,
And there's never a time then when we get our property tax payments that we are not getting property tax payments from prior years also. So there are deferrals and things that come in constantly. There's never been a payment that I've seen that we haven't gotten something from a prior year as well. So those continue to roll in at the same time, and those are counted when they're received, not when they're assessed.
Thank you, Rachel. There's no magic solution, that's for sure.
Well, to be devil's advocate, so when they said, was it a year ago, John, 2 years ago, when the state wanted to know every school district, what their wish list was, what their building maintenance was, how much, and it is my belief, and I don't have any research data to prove this, but I think Salem wants to close down old schools. It's cheaper for them to bus people, right? Because we're gonna float a bond for $39 million to get our school up. All our buildings are 70 years old, all this stuff. And we're not the only one. It's a lot of school districts. That ain't gonna happen.
Not to make it adversarial, but I don't think in the state of Oregon that's true. There is one state now that's consolidating 100 and X districts into 25. I read it here, I can't remember, it's like Tennessee or somewhere else where they decided that the multiple school districts is disadvantageous.
Right.
And it is. And it clearly is a more expensive way to operate, but in the state of Oregon, that's not gonna change.
Local control is
There's no
very
way in
popular in
hell,
Oregon.
excuse me, no way in heck. What's that?
Local control is very popular in Oregon.
Well, if you wanna call it that, I mean.
That's
But when you get to the point when you can't survive, then
No.
it's cheaper to bus kids to other school districts than it is to try and maintain, right?
But the majority of our school districts are small rural schools.
Not in numbers, right.
But kind of what Bob is saying, Bob and I sat through this building thing, $39 million. What happens when our Highland Elementary just folds up and because we can't afford to repair it?
Well, Florence says that's what's happening, right? I mean, they're putting bond issue out, or otherwise the building's gonna fall down, is what they're saying. Maybe they're right, they were built at the same time ours were roughly, I think.
But at some point in time, when you have less money to maintain, equipment. I mean, it was a wish list thing, right? Upgrade all the electrical, that was like $1 million.
Yeah.
And so there was all these things that some of it doesn't really need, you don't really need it, but the idea was we would have to go, we got 4,000 people here in this town, vote a $39 million bond for 4,000, that ain't gonna fly.
That's what Florence is looking at, it's pretty steep.
Yeah, I mean, people, and then we got what, 50%, I looked at 50% of our kids, or households, 56% of households in Reedsport with students are in poverty.
That's where we find ourselves. We're not gonna change it overnight. It might not ever change. In the meantime, how do we best provide educational services to these kids? That's,
When you're talking about your voter base, 56% of the households with students, but we're 70% retired, is our city managers telling me in the community. So a small sliver of, if you make an assumption, not 100% true, that retirees don't have kids in school. So you're talking about a smaller group, and then of that smaller group, 56% in poverty.
that's why housing is at a premium in these small towns, because they've been filled up with retirees from out of the area mostly, but not all. And Bonnie and me, people have been here a long time. Give it 10 years and the worm's gonna turn. Yeah,
Why do you
in 10 years, these little towns, there'll be housing. Trust me. On that one. All you gotta do is demographics.
I didn't catch what you said.
The baby boomers are gonna die.
I know.
I'm trying not to say it, it's gonna happen. And the next generations don't fill it in. Yeah. So, I mean, but that's a long time. 10 years is a long time away. And it might be 15. I mean, who knows exactly. Every town, it could be that certain towns, could be Reedsport even, become so much more attractive to that type of retiree that its housing base doesn't free up for longer than other communities that are looking all shiny right now. I mean, things could change, and they're probably gonna. I don't know which way exactly. Other than that, I know that housing will lose its premium over time.
Yeah, when we first moved down here, I tried to find a place for us to rent, and that was in '87, and there was nothing. There was nothing to rent that was suitable for us, and, you know, we weren't rich people by a long shot. So then we found the house that we are in now, and we decided just to buy that house, and I'm still in that house, you know, and it's gone up in value, needs a lot of work, but, so even clear back to '87, you know, where housing was limited, and things were booming then. You know, you had the mills and 3 schools full of kids, you know, and I think 6,000 or 7,000 people at that time.
Same number, not a lot less houses though. There was less, but not a lot less. There was
Yeah.
just houses had more people living in
Yeah,
them.
yeah, but, so how do you know when that line is gonna be changed again, you
I
know?
don't know, but I don't think it's worse for a town like Bridgeport.
Yeah,
It might be better, it might be the same, but it's probably not worse, that trend, but that trend is occurring. I'm just saying that there was concern about the availability of housing, and I'm saying over time, that probably cures itself, one way or the other.
yeah.
Or housing becomes more manageable relative to incomes, whatever. But that probably doesn't change the overall picture of educating kids in this community. Might make it easier to hire a teacher 10 years from now, maybe, you know, if there are any coming out of the colleges. But they said the same thing about CPAs or accountants, you know, they can't find any, and that's true. Yeah, there's certain professions that have lost favor. Well, I don't know what professions are favorable right now. AI, I mean, that's it. You know, if you're not AI, then you're nobody. I mean, because software is dead, you know, I mean, you can just, none of these things are really new trends, they're just different trends. Yeah. So, I don't want to diverge too much here, because enrollment and
Well, that's the key,
education,
right?
huh?
Enrollment is the issue, right?
Right.
So are you saying that we have to wait 10 years before there's adequate housing to get.
I'm saying it's gonna happen, whether, if we wait long enough, it's gonna happen, that's all I'm saying.
All right.
So it's gonna kind of take care of itself, in my best guess, but that could vary from town to town some. You know, the thing about Reedsport is Reedsport's built out. That's a big attracting force to a lot of people. And the people that live here, it's a big attracting force. The traffic's not gonna get worse. It's not gonna change very much, so for a lot of people, they like that, you know. But, enrollment wise, and it probably more or less stays the same, which kind of comes back to my point about if a community like Reedsport kind of hovers in the same zone somewhere, while everything else declines in the bigger community, we should end up with more money at some point, I think, but maybe not, maybe because of the way the formula you described doesn't really help us out.
Well, I think you're right, though. I mean, we are getting more money. If you look at the numbers from 8 years ago compared to what we have right now, if you're looking at the numbers per student, we're getting a significant amount of money more than we were 8 years ago. You know, we have $11,379 per ADMW now for a weighted ADMW. And 8 years ago, it was $7,732 per ADMW. So if you're looking at what our enrollment is, our ADMW is 150 less than it was 8 years ago, but we are getting $700,000 more in state school fund revenue than we did 8 years ago. So, yeah.
With all these students leaving, if they spent the same amount of money, if the state said, this is the amount of money we're spending, because you just said we went up like almost $4,000. If those students are still gone and we spent this much money at the state, why can't we have $15,000 per student?
Well, that's sort of my thinking to begin with, but I got a little cold water thrown on it there, but, because the difference between the 11,000 we get and the $1,000 per student that we're receiving in property taxes is state level funding. And they get to decide in Salem, tomorrow they can flip the switch and say, no, we're only gonna add 8 next year, and we get 9. And probably those days are coming, because Oregon is gonna experience some serious deficits. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it's absolutely baked in the cake right now.
Major discussion at the legislative level, those who are saying you're getting too much education funding is there's fewer students in Oregon. You won't need as much for fewer students. And just that's simple
The
argument.
student we have is twice as difficult.
There's plenty of counters, but those who are opposed are saying because there are fewer students in Oregon, you don't need as much as you did previously.
Meaning they can divert more money from school funding to other purposes.
Right, and the data point nationally is saying how much more Oregon spends per student
Oh, yeah.
than every other state.
For the
in
worst
nation.
result, I mean, or for a bad result, I don't know how they measure that stuff, I'm not sure.
On testing, on test scores.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyhow, the picture's bleak, what can we do about it?
We've got plenty of information here. I mean, we spent yesterday making sure we were prepped with data, and I was telling Bob when he walked in, we prepared to have you drink from the fire hose here. We have a lot of information, none of which gives it an answer. We can talk about unenrollment details, transfer details. We have thoughts on some of the next steps that are happening, but in this work session, we also acknowledged yesterday when we were planning is generated on what you're wanting to know, what you're wanting to do.
Well, we don't really know what to do. What we need to know, so we can say what we're gonna do.
Nice and all in there.
So what's the trend? I mean,
Like,
are we losing students every
Well, okay, so
annual period?
probably a good segue into what we're seeing for enrollment details and transfer details. So I want to lead with a clarifier. The papers you see that are stamped confidential. Okay, we've also got student names in there. We're on live recording, and this is a recorded session, so staff names, student names especially, should not be coming out. If you talk about a page number and you want to talk about the 10th item down from the top, to draw eyes in the same spot, but do not read into confidentiality issues with one another on a recorded public session, please. Sorry, Bonnie, I just got
No,
you to
that's,
say it.
no, that's okay. That's all right. I'm glad you did that. Probably had that better said than I did, so. So let's, has everybody taken a look at these papers that,
Mrs. Vitek over here is the Highland Attendance Secretary, part of the office manager. So these first 6 pages are her report of what she's tracked for Highland Elementary. She'd like to take a minute to explain to you what she did, so hopefully it makes sense.
So like the one with the green, is just, you can see per month how I go through.
August 25th.
Yep, so that's when we start our school year. Some will withdraw, you know, kids that are rolling over into the next school year, but then don't show because they've moved or something else come up, so those ones go. It shows kindergarten, what our rates start at, our total, and then we can go to September. We have our withdrawals through the month, our enrolls through the month, and then our numbers again, and our total. And then I did that clear through, I think, to March. So we're still in February, but now we've already got a couple in March that were enrolling. So our numbers are going up. They do fluctuate up and down. When you look at the pink one, that shows our enrollment. And then the orange one is our withdrawals. And you can go through and see, you know, communications I've had with the families on the withdrawals and why they're leaving, what issues have come up. A lot of the times why I didn't include the enroll, because you see a lot of them leave and then come back and leave and come back for different issues. So I don't know if you have any questions.
So are they required to give you a reason?
No.
They just do, so you don't, I mean, as far as your analysis, you don't pick that data point as reliable.
Well, it's just communication with the families that we've had.
Right.
I would offer,
They're not required to come in and say, this is why.
I would offer that we do ask. We do try to say, hey, well, but come on, why are you moving? You know,
Yeah,
try to
if there's
get
anything we can
information
do
to efficient.
either way, you know, we want to know.
Okay.
Similarly, the following pages, RCCS data, it's compiled just slightly differently because a few offices.
Well, if you look at that sheet, that's not RCCS.
That's CCS and with Highland things.
From years and years and years ago. So I don't know. I don't know how that got in.
Because our CCS, so Reedport Community Charter School is K-12. So if a report was ran for Reedport Community Charter School, you would get both schools.
Well, I understand that, but that's just kind
I'm just, yeah.
On the bottom of each page of the reports, it should say RCCS or HCS, so that you guys can try and keep them separate.
It does, Sherman. But when I'm looking at our CCS page 1,
Features.
and even the third student up, like from the bottom, that student is back. Because he's one of mine, so I know he's back. There are several on here that are back, so I don't know where the data is from that, because I can't read. I think that says 24, but I'm not sure.
Are there any of the reasons that you're seeing that you have questions about, or are you noticing any trends to why people are moving out?
I've been listening to it for a long time. That's one of the reasons why I kind of jumped right in. And lately, I have heard, and I might be a little oversensitive because a number of these conversations took place before anybody either knew or even before I knew that I was gonna be on the school board. And some of them were sports related, and some of them were just the basic grousing parent, my kid doesn't know how to read, kind of stuff. Like I said, I've been listening to it for a long time. But I'm not sure how many people that complain do anything about it. It seems like a few of them that did, I never heard that they left, but that doesn't mean they didn't. I'm not dialed in at that level. But it kind of made me a little more sensitive to the issue, and then I see we have an enrollment work session coming, and I'm like, what can we do? So I start talking to John a little bit about it, and I'm looking it up myself. And like I said, there's not a lot we can do, but there might be something we can do.
Well, it's too bad we can't do truancy anymore. I see there's some that are in or online that have never logged into online, so what are they doing? They're just out there just growing like dandelions, basically?
On that particular one, if you go, I think she's on the withdrawal.
You have a summer one.
I know who you're talking,
I know it's on one of them. Per conversation with parents, they couldn't get her out of bed.
So there's nothing here.
and
We have the
there it
same.
is. And there it is right there.
We see a lot of
We had the same conversation this week. A parent called Mrs. Tipton with lots of colorful language to get him off the phone list and quit calling him because he's asleep. He doesn't hear if his kid goes.
That's what I'm saying, it's too bad we can't have truancy
Yeah.
anymore.
As an educator, it's heartbreaking when you know maybe the family doesn't have the resources to be successfully online and teach this child and to people and everything. So from a human aspect, it's heartbreaking because I feel we should get back to that community-based education where we're all in it together, we're helping each other. Teachers could call home and it's a teamwork situation. We're working pretty hard to get there, and we've had a lot of successes. But then when you hit that point where they're not willing to work as a team, then we lose a student, and that is heartbreaking. It really is.
And you have to be careful of how you handle that.
100%. No one's judging anyone. I think I said this out loud before to one of our groups, but as a parent, you just want your kids to be better than you. You want them to succeed more and just do better. And I think we all have that in common.
Right.
There's no information here for the high school.
Looks like the report overlaps the work that
It is here.
Ms. VTech produced, so. And Sherry had a delay in being able to join us, so I think she would absolutely have this done. I have no doubt that it's just a travel delay for her, so.
The information I was hearing was mixed between the high school and the grade school, both. And the elementary. But I was looking for one in particular, and I didn't see it. So there's not a list that high schools students have left, right?
I think they got it.
I don't need it.
I have no doubt that they can put it together pretty quickly. The travel delay just was in the way, and
Is there any alarming difference there between the high school and the elementary school? Not really. Most of the activities are going to happen down below because more grades down
I think you would see the same types of patterns and the same types of reasons. We have families with kids in both schools very frequently. So when the high school goes out, the elementary kid follows.
there. All right, I got you. Okay.
I think we do have more kids at the high school online than we do at the elementary.
Probably.
John, if we went to a public school, how would that, or would that affect our fast track? Would we still be able to do that?
schools still provide an option to have their alternative school. And they create it based on an online platform and flexible scheduling.
Who's saying that?
That's pretty typical, if anything.
So these kids, at 10 days, they have to re-enroll?
They have to be dropped if they're 10 consecutive days of absence.
Yes.
And we can't re-enroll them until they come back. Because the state, we can't continue to claim them for revenue if they're not coming to school.
Well, okay, I get that, but, and there's nothing we can, if we're missing 10 days, we can't, what do we, like, truancy, you write a letter, and then that's it?
We have people calling and checking.
Yeah.
We call and check, because of, like, somebody that has a relationship will call and say, is there anything we can do to help you, what's going on?
Yeah, so if it's 10 days in a row, they get dropped. They do get phone calls in between that to check in and see, you know, what's going on or if there's anything we can do. They are informed that, you know, at the 10 days they will be dropped.
So at 5 days, you tell them, you know, you're on the wrong trend, and they don't care? I mean,
Well, it depends. I mean, it could be that they're gone because of death in the family or issues like that, or, I mean, it's all different.
And to Robin's point, yeah, so we do reach out, like if someone does have a relationship in the building, we'll call, and sometimes it really works. We had 3 kids return out of 4 that left of one family. So if you can connect and make that phone call and form that relationship, sometimes that works.
The law doesn't have any teeth in it anymore as far as truancy goes. It used to. Unfortunately. I mean, it sounds terrible to say, but
it shouldn't be needed. Because that's why these kids, they don't graduate, they end up becoming pregnant, you know, and then have kids having kids, and then the cycle just continues. And it's like, there's no successes there.
I don't think that trend's gonna change.
On the South Coast, as we learned, in particular, attendance issues was horrible, more so than anywhere else in the state. So then we're part of
16.9%.
What's that?
16.9%.
And so we're part of the attendance works program that we can talk about, if we want to talk about that now or later. We just on our agenda.
Feel like a segue, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we have teams, our districts are part of teams. The elementary has their own team, and we have our own team, and we're teaming with South Coast ESD to look at data and strategies to have students come back to school. And so we explore barriers to student attendance. Right now, we're working on those, what they call chronic absenteeism is missing 10% of school. So anything over that, so we have kids that are right at or close to 10% versus to 19, and we're making phone calls, or people in the office know this kid's been sick, or they're on a family vacation, so that all contributes to those days. But for kids that we don't know why they're missing, we make phone calls home to see if there's any barriers. Is there bullying? Is there transportation issues? You know, is there anything that we can do to help? Also, with that, being more cognizant of the fact that when kids come back, say, hey, glad to see you're here. We have a certain student who, I mean, it's like 8 or 9 days, they show up, Miss Wall, thank you for coming. Glad you're here, you know, instead of, you know, oh, finally back, you know. Just kind of change that narrative a little bit. And then we all also started having staff make more positive phone calls home so that you can have that connection with the family that's more positive, and they're more willing to maybe work with us. And then, as you know, Bob, we've incentivized having students come to school.
Well, since you bring that up, not to abstract from what you're saying.
Mhm.
That bothers me.
Mhm.
Personally, I think it's sending the wrong message to pay kids to come to school, but that's me. But I looked up, and we're kind of in violation of statute 339.1. It's against the law, to pay kids to go to school. That's what I'm saying.
What's it say?
I
What's the statute say?
didn't fully read it.
Okay.
What's the statute number again, Bob?
339.119. So when you had mentioned that we were doing that, you know, are you paying it? Is it coming out of the school board budget? Is it coming out of work?
It's coming out of a grant money,
Okay,
and we also got some from Reef. And the kids that are in attendance for the week, we can't give money to, and we can't buy, or we can't give them cards for anything, but we can shop for that item that they want on Amazon.
so that's within the scope of the law.
As far as I know, that's what.
We're not giving them cash, we're giving them gifts or something.
No, Rachel would kill me if we give them cash
So,
and cards.
so Reef is funding this,
And then out of the grant money.
I saw that, and I just wanted to make sure we weren't paying something we shouldn't.
Yeah, and same, when I was in Washington, I personally was buying stuff for different things
Yeah.
that they knew about, that we did, and I got slapped down even if it was my own money, like, you can't do that. And I'm like, it's a coffee card, the coffee shop's right there, it's a coffee card. He could go sell it on the street, they could get money, then they can go alcohol or whatever with it.
Yeah,
Do not allow that.
so are you seeing a positive trend by day?
It's the first month, kids are excited about it, had winners, and so hopefully, that will continue. I think we can do other things, we're having another meeting, not sure exactly when, but I'm sure it's coming up here pretty soon with South Coast ESD to find out other trends. And also, I'm old school too, Bob.
Yeah, I applaud your effort for trying to keep kids here, but
Looking at this ORS, it seems to say can't give them money to make them choose the school or as a favor for having chosen enrolling in the school. So an incentivized program where
It's okay.
everybody has a fair offer and
Okay.
it can rule, I think we're okay, but
Okay.
I just looked up your ORS.
That's the way I read it too, though.
Yeah, that was, I kind of mentioned that to you one time when we were talking about whether these districts could start incentivizing. And I brought up the fact that the Elkhorn providing the bus into Reedsport was a form of incentive to those parents. It's like giving them a transportation card or something. It really is. Fine, it's the way it is. In a perfect world, I totally agree with you, Bob, but this is not a perfect world. And for this district, I'm for trying to explore other ways, maybe not using public dollars even, of further incentivizing kids and parents to attend and learn. But I'd have to pay them a little bit here for a while, kind of get things leveled out. I don't know that. I just said I am for exploring it as an option. And I'm thinking about it, but I haven't really come up with any great ideas here yet. I was, kind of playing off of your thing, and I realized you can't have money, or you can't have something that can easily be converted into money, which narrows the options down considerably. What would that be? I don't know. Yeah, but I am for expanding the concept, let's put it that way. I'm just going on record, letting you guys know my ideas are pretty out there, but I think that stabilizing things here, there's an opportunity to make things if you can stabilize things, there's a way that Reedsport actually starts to get better. And there are some scenarios when Reedsport starts to get pretty good. That's the way I'm looking at it.
what are they?
Well, like I said, if Reedsport's student population declines slower than other districts, it should cure some financial issues. don't have any numbers or anything to support that. I'm not even 100% sure it's right, but it makes sense to me. A smaller population, even a smaller poor population, may be easier to reach and affect in a percentage way, however you want to. Might be easier to take kids that are down here and move them this far, which is a significant move, compared to kids that are up here, they can move them that far, it's not that big of a difference, kind of thing. So there's some ways to, and ultimately, I'm looking for a different public narrative about this school system, okay? Because the narrative I'm hearing is neither true, is neither positive nor true. It's not, so how do you can't, I can't just go around and tell everybody I know, hey, no, you're wrong, you know? It doesn't work like that. Now, I'll lose all my credibility, but I can help to start something that is sellable, is the way that's the way I'm referring to it.
Yeah.
And that might take some time, it might take a long time, I don't know. I don't think it's reversible in a year or two, it's probably, you could begin the recovery in a year or something. Might not even take that long to kind of reverse it. You know?
We can have a handle on it fairly quickly. So I've done some research. I'm gonna move to this slide here. Bonnie asked me what was going on in the school. I listed a bunch of positive things, and she didn't know, and that's not her fault because we didn't tell her. So it's not really the public's fault that they don't know these things. We're gonna have to get better at sharing our success stories and branding and marketing, because I think that's where we can really succeed, and we can control the narrative a little bit better than we have been. So,
it needs to be real though. Marketing is not necessarily real. You know, I can say my product's better than yours. That doesn't necessarily have to be the truth. But all you're really trying to do is up your sales, okay? But if it's real, if you're saying, no, our school district is getting better, we're improving, there are some demonstrable ways to establish the truth of that, and it takes a little while to establish credibility to where that might be, I use the word sellability, but I didn't really mean marketing.
well, I mean,
I know what you mean though. I mean,
Right.
marketing carried the day there, you know, I mean, that's how Upton got what they got. They marketed at the right time, they got lucky, they caught a few things in their favor, and to their credit, they wrote it all the way out. I mean,
yeah. So a more comfortable word might be branding.
maybe, I mean, whatever. I want it to be the truth, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want for kids to be doing better. I want for the district to be doing better in whatever ways it can. And I'm not sure how many ways we can make a difference, but in those ways that we can, I hope that we do.
Yeah.
I think what Tara's trying to say, if I'm hearing correctly, is, so my concern, and we all hear it, we all live here, parents don't see anything positive. They don't hear the positive. So the parents are going out there, they're spreading this negativity throughout the town. If we produce this positivity to our parents, it's got to start somewhere. We have to start
Somewhere.
somebody
I agree.
has to start saying, this is good, this is the good thing that we're doing right here, and this is what, and then this parent's gonna go, gosh, did you see what the school's doing? I mean, right now it's like, God, did you see what the school's doing? I mean, there has to be a positive, we have to get the positive effect out to the people, these people that we don't have in school.
I can give you an example of what you just talked about. When I introduced the ICU program here, we had 700 and some missing assignments, zeros. Kids not doing the work. And so I researched on a program that, and then put, if you have 3 or more, you can't go to these events. I mean, you have to be a student first. That's why we're here. And boy, did I get crucified on what's happening in Reedsburg. It was the worst thing ever. But it's what's good for kids.
You're restricting their ability to attend events. Isn't that what's before the legislature right now?
I don't know.
There's something before the legislature right now that they're trying to address the attendance problem. I believe it was a stick approach and not a carrot.
Yeah.
And I think that was what I read.
But to me, that is a positive, because now we have kids turning in assignments.
If
which
it's
means
working,
they're gonna
if it's
grab it.
working, right.
Oh, it's
Well-
working, not as great as I would like it to, but it is working.
But I hear kids all the time, oh, I have too many assignments on ICU, I need help, I need to get them in, I need to get them in, because I can't go to the dance, or I can't go to the football game, or I can't do whatever I wanna do, because I have 3 assignments on ICU.
How they restricting them? They got a list at the, they do at the gate?
I think
And I think-
you get an email, saying your child is on the ICU list for whichever class it is, and has an assignment missing. And on the flip side of that is when they turn that in, you also get a notification that your child has turned this paper in, so they are no longer on the ICU list.
And I think the reality of what Tara presented in branding and what you both spoke of is that if we can do that and then be able to follow up by higher proficiency of our students, they need to read and write. We're focusing so hard, we want every third grader to know how to read and write. We're working with community partners. So if we can marry those two things and just work together as a team to increase proficiency, John's goal is 75%, we're gonna win, but it will take time.
Yeah, I think I wasn't really disagreeing with you. I think what I'm saying is first we do the proficiency, then we do the marketing.
Well, okay, so here's where I disagree with that.
Okay.
Because we have, our test scores are bad. Yes, they're not great. They could be better, much better. Okay, we want to reach that 70%. But I don't want people to think we're not doing anything to get there, right? This is a list of things that people need to know. This is how we're getting there. So if we don't let them know that we have a plan, we don't look like the experts. We don't look like people that have.
So what do? Hand it out and tell the kids take it home, you put it on Facebook,
So
we're not doing that?
we've got a plan.
Oh, okay.
So I will be presenting a few of these items very specifically in 2 weeks to you all at the board meeting. So you're going to see this graphic a couple more times. Al Campbell and I are working together to get these on the website so that when people click a line item on there, it'll bring up a little 2-minute video about what that is. There's things on this list that I imagine people don't know what they are even. Those videos that we are actively putting together right now star both staff and students. And so when you click on Pax Patterson Labs, for instance, it's going to bring up a video with the teacher and with the students that explains what that is. People my age, I'm an old millennial, when we go to look up schools for our kids, we're looking at the website first. We don't call first, we don't visit first, we look at the website first.
That's great. She's put a lot of work into this, a lot of work into this.
And then on the lower grades, while our job is to deliver to Tara and Jerry and Robin a student with foundational skills. So about 1.5 years ago, I think you've heard nationwide about the Mississippi Miracle and all the stuff happening with some southern states. We started that 1.5 years ago, and it encompasses high dosage tutoring, which is proven to show great results, professional development intensive with our staff that is trained to science of reading, and then six-week small group data cycles. So right now at Highland, we are absolutely staffed. K through 3 are in the boat. We're about to go to our next conference, but we are combining high dosage tutoring, structured literacy, professional development, decodable and cultural relevant text expansion, and I can add this to Tara's presentation. She can include it in so the board can see what we're doing, so that we're producing for the high school a student with foundational skills. They have to read by 3rd grade or there's a 28% chance they'll be homeless. So we are also within our title narrative, and everything we're doing is creating and combining literacy and attendance as well. So I'll have this available for you, and it can be included because we are one school. So you'll know what we're trying to produce for the high school.
Do you guys have the resources you need to do all this?
I am finding them.
Okay,
and procuring them,
okay.
and been pretty successful at that. So, we have video equipment, we have yearbook students, we have the media, we have the technology. COVID taught education a lot. One of the good things that came out of it is I know how to film. A lot of our staff know how to do this stuff, so
She's a great director.
I'm not Steven Spielberg by any means. These are gonna be low budget films, but,
Is this something that, I'm thinking outside of, since we don't have a newspaper anymore, anything like that, when we have Coos Bay, does it seem to come north? Of course, north doesn't come south, to see what's going on in our district. But what about on the local news channels? Maybe contacting them about, and see what's happening in our little community, these things that you're listing here, help promote some better things. Radio, John used to go on the KDUN when that was functioning, and go online, say John's here, call in, ask questions and stuff, and we gotta get, that doesn't happen anymore either because it's not available. We've gotta get more out of our little area here to promote our little area.
John, we can do a podcast. Start a podcast.
How many, given our current enrollment, whatever that is, how many want to learn in both high school and elementary, who are there for their future?
Well, on Wednesdays, we started the high dosage tutoring. We currently serve 45 children who are choosing to stay after school an extra hour to get extra tutoring and literacy. It's incredible. I started crying the other day. The parking lot was so full. And I'm like, what's going on? And then it hit me. And I'm like, that's stupid cool.
That's encouraging.
Yeah, so they do want to learn.
That was a limited group. So those were 52 original invitations and 45 commitments. So
That's pretty high percentage.
80%, but only 52 were offered that opportunity.
Right, because these are our high targeted groups, and we're going to be dividing down to even a deeper subgroup with our kinder and first, so that we hit what we need to in science of reading.
So those 52 that you chose, is that based on
Our
grade
data
levels,
assessments
or
on maps,
how they're performing?
which is a test that tests proficiency at a nationwide level.
Doing that at this high school too?
We don't have high dosage tutoring, but we have tutoring that is offered at lunch, before school, after school, and on Fridays. From 9 to 9.
I guess where I'm going with this is maybe we need to spend more time on kids who want to learn, to care about learning, and less time on the problem kids. If they're going to be a pain in the ass, then
Your administrative team does that, and when they're giving professional development to their staff, we talk about the low-hanging fruit. Who is right there, just needs that nudge, that push, that extra intervention to get those test scores to flip over to where they're in the right spot for us. Because we've got special education programs and students with goals who need targeted area, and if a general trend would indicate that those students need a lot more growth to be where we're at, taking the students who are just about there in a yellow zone and flipping them over where they're in that successful green-blue band. Special education supporting students who are there. You do have a bubble that's still unaddressed, but that isn't the bubble we're worrying about.
Okay.
Our special ed is taking care of those kids who are close and trying to be taken care of. We'll have to figure out something for that narrow band that isn't there. So I think that's already happening.
okay, so for argument's sake, we're doing this, and kids, 70% of the kids in both schools are making progress, they're doing well.
Right.
That word gets out.
That's
Bridgeport
our
School
best
District
marketing.
is improving. We have these data points that show that we are.
Right.
Okay. So then the buzz is, well, let's go to Reedsport. So then what stops families from coming here?
Housing.
Employment and and housing, right?
Yeah.
Cost of living.
And just to backtrack just one moment, and yes, I love that scaffolding that you just spoke about, but also we have to really support our staff and keep them engaged and pertinent, relevant education for our teachers and our staff. And that's really, really important. Sometimes we cut that right away. We need to make sure that our title monies are spent on both staffs and that we're both engaged in IRRC. And Tara's very passionate about it and can explain it a little more. But we are all being trained in the same thing. And at each building, our staffs are being trained. We just have to make sure that money is available to continue to teach our staff professionally. and
So
support
you're
them.
saying monies for training, because you're per contract, you guys negotiate contracts. That's what it is, right? So that's your pay scale, whatever it is, you're contracted. That rate for 3 years.
Our professional development days are mostly what we're saying, but also conferences that are going to keep us relevant, that are going to keep us at real time so that we can walk the walk and be the best staff for these kids and continue the growth
Bob,
we need
what
to.
Missy is saying is when you are doing your budgeting and making decisions about high school success, student investment accounts, and those ODE pots of money, and when we have professional development as part of those programs, that you continue to realize that professional development is important.
Mhm. Extremely important.
So do we have, money's available in the budget?
Those are pretty regularly predictable monies, and because they're so directed how we spend them, there's not a lot of freedom in them. So professional development is an easy avenue for us to title, high school success,
Early literacy.
early literacy. There's a lot of those structured, non-competitive grant dollars that are kind of directed where we have to spend them. And we do have those budgeted.
You know, Mrs. Watts, I'm really glad to hear about this program for these kids that you've targeted that are taking advantage of the after-school program. Back in the day, and I know this is a very popular thought, we went to school 5 days a week. As far as title went, we had before school programs for the kids to come in and get assistance. We had after-school programs where the kids came and got assistance. They were targeted students. And it worked,
It does.
But now we've narrowed our learning time Monday through Thursdays, basically. So we've lost, a good 8 hours of educational experience for the students. So how do we?
Well, what that has done, I think we're doing a good job. We're both right on track with our what needs to happen, the ingredients in the cake that we were talking about. We're on track. We need time, but I also know that Friday for professional development is going to be able to be that supported time for our staff and teachers that we can do some relevant work.
So how long at Highland? What time do the kids get out of school?
3:21.
3:21, and they go till after school till 4:30.
Yep, so we have our IAs who we snack them through Chef Tom and the program, we stay, recess them, and then from 4 to 5, they're continued learning. They do 30 minutes mathematics, and then 30 minutes of literacy, reading and writing.
Oh, very good. Okay. It's a start.
It is, it's a deep start.
It is, yeah.
That as a whole group?
It is, what do you mean a whole group?
So like you have your 40-some kids?
Oh, no, only small group. On
Multiple
science
teachers.
Yeah, science of reading states that you need no more than 6 teachers. We need, so everything at Highland K-3 is situated into small group movement. If you'll walk in, we have something called Walk to Read now, so that our high ones can get what they need, our low ones can get what they need. So third, fourth, right? If you need a little bit more, you're going to be with those third grade teachers. If you're in third grade and you're reading, then you go up fourth grade. You walk to another room and get a higher level of learning. So we're trying to take all the best practices.
And the community doesn't know about this.
No, sir.
So that's another positive thing that we need to.
Right.
Well, and we're revamping the special education department all the time. So when I first came on, we had kids that were already identified eating title resources, and I was like, no. These kids, we've already said, need extra support. Give that slot to a kid that's on that bubble versus a kid that we've already identified.
And then with the new special education teacher and Robin, they've been able to connect our special education at the elementary level with classroom teachers. So now we're all having conversations and collaborating as staff and special education for the first time in a very long time.
Does student success equate to
That's
increased enrollment?
I think eventually it will take time, as what Chris is speaking to. I think it will. We're on the right track. We're following the science of reading, trying to produce that child for them that is going to excel at the high school level. There's hope.
We talked about, getting the word out and parents start showing positive in the community. It also falls off of what you say, staff. I mean, staff has to appreciate where they're working and has to love their job. I mean, teaching is a very
Hard.
Yeah. Hard, and
Teaching is hard.
We have to support our staff 100%. Our staff is part of this community, and they have to go out and say, we're doing so much better, we're doing good. I mean, for a while, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that out of anybody. It wasn't like that out of staff, students, or parents, right? Or just the community in general. And I think what Tara's proposing, changing our perspective, changing what people hear in this community. And it only isn't just parents, it's everybody.
Well, staff gets beat down when you're working your tails off, and then how do you voice that? How do you voice after 8 hours of working and a parent yelling at you and cursing with profanity and all the stuff? You're tired. You don't have anything left in the tank to brand and market. You want to go home and sleep because you got to get up and do it the next day.
It's hard when there's so much negative focused around it.
Exactly, and it wears on you. It wears on
And
you.
I'm sure everybody in this room has been in that situation at one point or another in their job. I mean, they all go home and go, geez, what the hell am I doing? I mean, and this is horrible, and I mean, it's
So much easier to be a TikTok influencer, you know?
So I think
Maybe that's what we need to do to get the word out.
right.
John, this kind of fits in with our strategic planning also, doesn't it? By promoting the
I
schools
think
in a
you've got
positive
a
light.
big opportunity in your strategic planning to focus on your immediate next couple of year goals for enrollment, for promoting positive, for supporting something that you're talking about here right now. This is a timely meeting as you at work.
We want to educate our parents right along with us as they move up.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe could there be something that's posted on our school district website, like monthly updates from our principals or something like that, that shows all that? Because as a parent even, I've missed a lot of things to go, I didn't know that was happening.
Right.
So it's just kind of nice to have, here's all that actually really is going on, and seeing, and share those videos or those little things versus all the negative.
Because sometimes your middle schooler is not going to get in the car and tell you about their day. They don't talk.
Oh, yeah, once they reach high school, it's you gotta look out for somebody else to be like, what happened, what's going on?
To piggyback off that, I know we have to do quarterly updates as to the board as administrators. So maybe we post what we say at the board meeting on our website
Yeah,
as well,
I mean,
so that
just
the parents can get that.
put some
If they
positive
don't
out
come to
there.
the board meeting, they don't hear what's going on.
And it's out there too, like you can find it if you wanted to, if you wanna look for it, here it is.
But then it's not an extra, we already have to do it quarterly, so then maybe just
Yeah.
that
Add it on
extra
to
step.
the website or something.
And a deep plea from us in both buildings is please come have lunch one day. Come walk the building. We really need you in the building so that you can help us trumpet what really is happening, what's reality and what's not. Come. Don't just come to the meetings, come in and feel the vibe, feel the culture, and feel what we're trying to accomplish.
That's what I want to see. I want to see the buildings more, and I know there's restrictions, but still see the buildings more open to our family members and stuff to come and just actually see for themselves what's going on in the building. So we're gonna break right now for you know, in case you need to, you know, for about 10 minutes?
School board members, Ms. Vitek here is not one of our administrators and not necessarily required to be here. Do you have enrollment issues, questions about families who have been coming and going? If not, if you want to excuse her to continue her Saturday with her family, just.
Well, we're here, she should start. Planning for a pound, you know?
As we're going into Bonnie's break, if you need anything more from her, you can ask her to stay. If you think you understand her important information, better things that she wants to do for her Saturday.
You want some more grilling? Anybody have any questions?
Thank you for
No, thank you. Enjoy your Saturday.
Thank you very much for the information you gave us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
10 minutes?
10 minutes, yes.
You're right. My wife is loud.
And your daughter.
I know that. I don't know. I probably dropped those for you. I don't know if this can be first one. Because I want to do it. Otherwise, we'll lose it over here. I mean, I'm not sure I want it.
If it's not showing up the same as your regular screen.
Not just because I brought it up. I'm not stuck with it.
That's not, John,
Just have a
what you're not
comment
doing in the
for
meeting, what is that?
Right now,
I was
although
thinking
fire
there.
ban is not a fire starter,
If you
it's a
turn your
boiler.
screen on, you should be able to play it. But I don't know.
I was only
I don't know
asking
how
because my computer didn't read by the electrician.
Come right, I mean, hard, but if I
Has to
can
certify it's on the US
I don't want to take
642
them
then.
all.
Yeah. Everybody, we're gonna bring this meeting back into session. Ms. Valley has a video that she wants to lead off with this video that she has.
I don't know. If you unmute and I mute here. The boardroom is going to turn on the mute so that the presentation sound can happen. So we're going to be on mute now. Good.
Here, how about this? Why don't I step out of the room?
But you mute you, you know that help?
The sound has to, do you have to tell it what keyboard to use?
Cool. Well, let's try to step out of the room.
Oh, that would
Oh, not quick.
Tara's muted.
Okay, let's continue on with the rest of the meeting. I will play with the sound and see if I can't tell it to play sound for that.
It's just like this at my house. Every time I'm like, let's just do something else.
Okay, so, we are gonna proceed to our next steps, and we've been kind of talking about what do we do now with, Tara's got this video that she's gonna get, to where we can probably hear it and see it, what we were talking about promoting on web pages about this one on RCCS, and maybe we can eventually do that for Highland also. So,
Chairman, I might give the board some quick information. As you're going to be listening to next steps, the Department of Education and the State Board of Education both have ramped up expectations beginning next year, September school, for accountability. And I guess if I give a quick oversight of what that's going to look like, because as you're doing strategic planning, as you're talking about things you want to do, and you're reviewing things that are happening, keeping some context of, I guess, why it's going to be important, what are some of the requirements that are going to be overlaying for us. So for 2026, we used to have the local performance growth targets that we reported on our state reports. Now they're local performance accountability measures, and there's been a big accountability push through legislation. At the state level, there are 7 required metrics that must be adopted, and then additionally, an 8th locally determined metric has to happen out of 5 choices. So 7 required ones, and then the school district picks 1 of 5 to make 8 total that we have to hold ourselves accountable to. The 7 required are regular attendance, K2. We know kinders are a tough group to get to school. Regular attendance district-wide. Yep, they have some very lofty targets that they expect by 2029. Yesterday, my state phone call with our superintendent group, there's a lot of concern about how high those targets are, because several of them have never been achieved in the state ever, even the highest and greatest of times, and they're higher than national norms. So are these lofty goals with the intention that you will never reach them because it's never happened in the United States, or are these lofty goals with an expectation? That's a big concern, but that still is to be answered. At a support and penalty level, if districts miss any of the targets they have for 2 consecutive years, then ODE is going to start coming in and doing coaching and support and begin directing up to 20% of the funding that we get through those state non-competitive grants. Intervention, continued failure to meet the targets after 4 years may lead to, state taking up control of 25% of that flexible spending. That would be a 2030, 2031 school year before they do that for anybody in the state. And this is all kind of stemming from Senate Bill 141 last legislative session. So as you are thinking strategic planning, as you are hearing what we're doing right now, as we're talking about issues of concern, this is something that is our new pathway that we must follow. And so what your administration is aware of, and you're going to start hearing more and more about as you see board reports coming up in the future.
Thanks, Tom.
So if we accurately report and we fail, and they send their representatives down here to control 20%, blah, 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 how's that bad? Doesn't that just mean we have more people in the district working? And we don't have to pay them? Not exactly.
No, because they don't come down, Chris. They'll. I mean, Jerry meets pretty regularly with high school success, and that's what, 3 times a year by Zoom. And so them coming to provide oversight isn't them really in helping. It's show me this data. You didn't do what I wanted. Here's your next action plan / penalty.
So they make it miserable for certain staff members, I guess. I mean, in a way. But is that harmful?
Certain staff members.
So they come down to hurt things.
They're going to try to find ways to make it feel. The flogging will continue until morale.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. I get you. How can that work?
Is system
So
would
what?
what a focus school would have been.
Focus
like-
schools, sim and cam, it's been all these programs that we've heard about, different variations of what is it.
So you don't want to get on their list?
You don't want to get on their list, and when you are on their list, really, there's probably a different reason other than you weren't trying. I will stand behind this. Our teachers are working incredibly hard and doing the best that they can, and sometimes the factors that we're dealing with aren't clear why they aren't working for us.
Yeah, but different districts have different student bodies, and those that have, you know, the more challenged student bodies, let's try that. Are they, is it cooked in the books, they're gonna fail?
Some of the stuff will probably be beyond the district's control. I will 100% stand by this. No district intentionally is going to try to fail to be
I
on these
understand.
lists, but there are going to be factors, and somebody is going to be at the bottom, and somebody is going to be directed.
Well, if you want attendance to increase, but you don't give us any ways to
Require
enforce it or require it, then
What are we
that's,
supposed to do?
yeah.
Right.
Which is exactly the situation in the state of Oregon. Is there a system like that in effect now?
Not currently, but we've seen different variations. I'm 28 years now. I've seen 4 or 5 of these variations come and go.
Where they threaten some sort of action and then maybe it just kind of peters out and that never really happens?
Because when they realize, oh shoot, there's factors beyond the control here, we didn't anticipate, we designed this grandiose system and gave a big runway for it, and then, oh, yeah.
It sounded like a good idea.
Sounds a lot like our city government.
But
Okay.
nonetheless,
You're making me look bad.
it's still trying to direct what we all know is the right work. And we are doing the right work, and teachers are doing things the best way we can with the resources we have. It's not going to make it better because you're threatening, because I'd argue we're already doing it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to get at.
Blogging will continue until morale improves.
This one may have another.
Okay, so we don't get too worked up about this. All right, all right.
28 years, I've seen it at least 5 times.
All right, we're working on attendance anyway.
Yeah, so, but that is a big thing. It's gonna be drummed on for a couple of years.
I think there's some more action on that attendance thing. I think what you were talking to them about, there's been some action on it recently, like last day or two. I don't think they passed anything, but they're paying lip service to it.
Curious.
Interesting.
Okay. So,
Okay, any other suggestions?
I think we're still kind of back to next steps. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to get some context since you brought up the strategic planning and an awareness level.
Right. Sarah, how you doing there?
Okay, we're getting it figured out. In the meantime, since I don't have this up on my board yet,
Ready to go.
Tosh is looking into it.
He's ready.
Tosh is ready?
Yep.
Okay, and he has the link?
Yep.
Okay. So Tosh is gonna bring up a video from his end, the video that I just shared to him so that we can watch it.
Okay. We're ready when you are, Tosh.
At RCCS, school isn't just about classes. It's about belonging, energy, and showing up every day as your best self. That's where our house system comes in.
Students in grades 7 through 12 are part of one of 4 houses. Each house represents a core value that challenges us to grow, not just academically, but as people.
Our houses are Determinasa, which stands for determination, Azelic, which stands for camaraderie, Aruma, which focuses on empathy, and Kanatsuya, which stands for innovation. These values show up in our classrooms, our hallways, and how we treat each other every day.
During class sports by participating in class, answering questions, working hard, and showing positive citizenship. Every time you raise your hand, help a classmate, or push yourself to improve, you're helping your house.
The house system is inspired by the Ron Clark Academy, and it brings excitement and friendly competition into our schools. It pushes us to stay engaged, support one another, and take pride in our learning.
At the end of the year, the house with the most points earns a reward. But the real win is the community confidence and the school spirit we build together.
4 houses, 1 school.
So, as you see, this video, great actors, okay? But it's a rough draft video. So this is where we are in the process. I had a yearbook student come in and go, you can't hear some of these guys. We actually have microphones that they can wear. And so now we're retaking videos with microphones. This video system that I am working with, we can put subtitles on them as well. We can dub them in different languages if we want to.
Can they go on the TVs that we have in our schools, John? Community Plus?
Oh, wouldn't probably be able to hear them, but you can see what they're, but you can read the
Yeah,
title.
and you'll see houses and the subtitle will
That's
be
interesting,
on,
Dave,
but we
because
don't.
we get to choose the content that we put on those videos, and those do display around town.
Okay, and if we show elementary at the high school and high school at elementary, it's gonna connect us again.
Even if you just put your visuals on there, that might be helpful.
We may look at those visuals and condense language so that they're easier to read in a 10-second clip, because those videos only sit for 10 seconds and then go to the next one, but we can saturate that material
Or even
with our
putting which
content.
house is in the lead, so that if they're around town, people can see.
It's in McKay's, and I don't know if the new board members know what Community Plus is.
I know, but you don't know.
No, yeah, John, can you explain it better?
Community Plus is local news that is, Alan Ledesma is down in Coos Bay, and this is his company. So he gives us local communities, like you see the one in McKay's has the television, we have one in elementary, we have one in the high school. I'm not sure where else they're in the city, but they display the same content. So Rotary information will pop up, advertisements from the elementary school will pop up. They'll throw in some national news that Community Plus will just select for us and throw in there. But because we get to control what items we put in there and change it, we get to flood it with information. It does become a visual thing outside of the school buildings if you're at McKay's, if you're at one of the other places where these cameras are.
Get to be a part of that. How do businesses get to be a part of that?
See, I didn't know about that.
I think Alan went around and talked to a whole bunch of them, and they got to choose. But if you want to get one down at the rec station, it would be pretty easily. He would love to do it because some of the advertisement he gets paid for, so that's how he's able to market it and run it. But he does it to benefit the school locally. So it's Community Plus. He's trying to do it for local news, local business. It's his way of creating social media that's specific to the area that it's at in a sustainable way.
Jerry, how many, I don't know any of those 4 boys, or I might know them, but I didn't recognize them. How many of those 4 boys signed up for baseball?
No, that's correct.
None of those 4.
2 I know are track.
Oh, okay. They are.
One's sitting out. He's done.
Okay.
Finished basketball, and I don't think the other one.
Okay.
He might put track up.
I'm curious if they're pretty healthy.
We were basketball players, one was our
Yeah.
one was our biggest fan.
Yeah.
Remember that we're talking about students here.
Yes, we have to be careful of our communication with students and staff and stuff. So that,
They were just on video for everybody else to see, and it's recorded.
yeah. It's a learning curve, Chris. I'm still learning too.
You know, earlier I was thinking, about your quarterly, you know, you guys present quarterly. You might we at the city put a quarterly newsletter out. That might be something that you, and we're always looking for content. If you want to, I mean, that would, a lot of, and it goes like, she prints over 1,000.
Everywhere.
And people, yeah, they go, she takes them everywhere around town, and so people grab them, and they're at Price and Pride, Safeway, I mean.
We have them at City Hall too.
They're everywhere, yeah, and it's also available online, I believe, but that might be something that you guys submit your quarterly reports, and then the people, yeah, and then people will see that in the quarterly letter that, oh, this is what the high school's doing, or the grade school's doing. So, I don't know if there's somebody that puts together like a, a report or something like that, or if you just want to share the reports that you give to us.
Do we have a media specialist anymore? I think we did.
It's me. It's Sean.
Is that something that students could?
Maybe.
Another project.
The trick that you're talking about is we have some staff who do it as an addition to their job descriptions. And when we have students, you need continuity and some level of oversight so that at the community receiving level, the thing that comes out from students is relatively consistent. So it does require a focused level of work from staff to be doing those pieces, and honestly, I believe it is full-time work that is in addition to what anybody else is doing. Because social media moves so quickly, especially when there's emergencies or somebody hops on Saturday and develops a question and runs through Facebook for 2 days before the school even has a chance to come back to work and respond to it. Between social media, marketing, promotion stuff, I think it is full-time work to put out and stay ahead and keep the messaging positive.
Sometimes it's best just not to respond at all. Sometimes it's best to just not respond at all.
Well, and that's what we end up having to do because we have staff who are doing it in addition to their jobs. And if we can't actively stay proactive and positive and ahead of everybody, sometimes we just have to not respond to things because we don't have the chance to fight it, to be proactive about it. So you just let it go. But then the absence of response validates the negative response indirectly.
So I can have Rhonda, who does our quarterly newsletter, reach out to somebody every time we're doing it. If you just tell me who you want her to reach out to, I can give her that name and email.
Do you have the dates that it's due? Because like we know when our reports are due to Charmin.
I don't know when she does them. She just put one out last month, I believe. So
maybe if you got the dates to Charmin, then Charmin could get it out to us to let us know. And then we could, as administrators, sign up for who's going to do.
Quarterly reports are scheduled for the year. It's very predictable for us, and if we aligned it with what Rhonda's schedule is, it probably could work out.
So if Rhonda emails Charmin, that would be good.
Yeah, sure, Charmin maintains that report calendar for us.
It's good. Okay.
Okay, so,
Yeah, I'm ready.
go for it.
Okay, so on the high school success plan, we get, some of our funding is high school success dollars. And so there are 4 categories. 3 of them, we have some work to do, and all 3 of those categories. The first one, we passed with flying colors. That's the professional learning community. So what professional learning communities are, is the teachers divide into groups. We have a science, math, and English, and Missy did a wonderful job starting the initiative of PLCs in her building, and then I looked at my high school team and was like, we need to do this too. So we have it here and they get together and they talk about math scores and which of those students that we can take and move up to pass the SBAC test. So that's who's analyzing the data, is these groups of teachers that are meeting together and they're looking at those kids at the kid level and going, yes, as a student, if I give them this intervention, they're going to perform better. And so that's been really good work. We've also had things come out of it, like the science department was complaining because the kids didn't know their basic math facts. So out of that came the initiative of teachers standing around in the morning with flashcards. The kids get to run up to the teacher, they get 10 flashcards right, they get a house point. So, and the kids call it forming house points. And they'll go around to each teacher to get their points, and it's been beautiful. They're practicing more, so these things are good. Any questions about this particular slide? Okay. If you're reading through this and you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to talk about this. It is my favorite subject, education.
So on the attendance one, is there a way, without naming names, to shame poor attendance?
That's discouraged, Bob.
If we're promoting kids that are doing well, that should be the ideal, right? And if we use them to, say, I'm this successful because I attend, because I'm involved. If they promote that throughout the school, kids that don't give a.
So you're not saying shame Robin Haddock because I haven't been at school in 8 days. You're saying let's praise Tara Adams, who has been at school forever and likes to come and is a successful student, and then I would feel shame as the student that never comes to school.
And it's a common frustration. Umatilla County did take some strides legally, going through their town board to impose fines like your grass is too high fines, your kid's not at school fines. So it was done on a local level, but that takes working with the town board and everything else from within to come up through a local town ordinance. But it did happen in Umatilla County.
Well, I guess the point is that we have kids that don't attend school that are here. Maybe, and then they drop out. So our local talent, if you want to call it that.
Right.
And we bring them back in so we can improve enrollment, you know what I mean?
Fines are being imposed.
And shame always works,
How many
When
of those,
I was a kid,
That's a long time.
how many of those parents are paying the fine is the thing I'd like to see.
I don't know that yet.
Yeah.
I can look it up or research it, and maybe it's something you guys want to dig into, but John and I have had that conversation more than once.
Okay.
And it's just it's a hard route to go, because you have to go through judges and county judges and the whole thing. It's
I was just
a
curious.
maze.
But I think you're talking about imposing a consequence. He's thinking that if we start celebrating and making it known that this is the successful student, this is what they get, that maybe me as the unsuccessful student would be like, oh, I want that Amazon card, or I want that recognition. So that's where the shame would come in versus a consequence.
Yeah, that's exactly, that's my thought.
How can it just be proud to give diploma?
Years ago, when I was working at Highland, we had this thing called Highland Pride, and we had pride tickets. And the kids that we noticed, all staff had access to those. They all had those little tickets. And we noticed students that were doing the right thing, we would give them a pride ticket. And that was a big incentive for a lot of kids at that time. And back in the day when we had more money, of course, we also had the kids could collect their tickets. They had an option, they could put them in for a drawing, like at a monthly assembly. And if their name was drawn, then they would win a something, or they could save those tickets up and then come like the Christmas season, where we, when we had the money, we would buy all these different items and stuff, you know, for, to put on display in the cafeteria, and the kids could go shopping. And they could use those Pride tickets to buy those items for their family members. And, you know, we are in a poverty area, and those, you know, it worked, but things, you know, economics changes and all that kind of stuff, and that kind of went away, which was sad, because I saw that there was success, you know, with our kids, and it started out with, it was, of course, at Highview, so it was the younger students, but, you know, those types of things, those incentives, go a long ways. Go a long ways. You
I
know.
remember my grandkids coming home and, look at all the Pride tickets I have, and I'm like, God, where'd you get those? And then they started telling me about it, and then keep hearing about it, and yeah, I think this.
Well, you know, as an instructional assistant, we did a lot of recess duties and things like that, you know. So we would, you know, watch the kids, and we see that Susie is, you know, doing something, you know, that was kind or deserving. And there was another student that was maybe not too far away that wasn't exactly doing that, and they saw Susie get the tickets. Well, then they kind of helps change the mindset there too. So.
That's the shame that Bob's talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly right.
There's some kids who legitimately have ambitions, I get that, but because she's lazy and doesn't want to get out of bed, I mean, you know, come on.
You know, anyway, that's, you know, something we have done in past years, but, just put that out there.
Unfortunately, it's probably harder than, I mean, it is, right, the parents don't, I mean, those parents probably aren't getting out of bed to go to work either.
Well, when they're like elementary age, I mean, that's kind of up to the parents' responsibility to get their kids.
Kindergartners don't drive and don't set the alarm clocks.
Exactly right, yeah, so. Okay, Eric, I'm in.
So,
This one, Jerry?
kind of to your point, Chris, what can we control? What do we control? And growing up in Idaho and watching what happens to a town when a school closes, the town dies. And so that's always been in my mind as an educator of what are we doing? And I was fortunate enough to be in Astoten, which is exactly 5 miles from Clarkston, talk about busing. So they're a smaller school, Clarkston's a bigger school. What are we gonna do that sets us different than anybody else? And attract people to our school. So I've thought a lot about what those kind of things are. That led me to the IRE thing with engagement. I think we have a lot of our staff that do engaging things, but they need to sell that thing better. Instead of just closing the door and it happens, and the only time you find out about it is if you're actually taking that class, instead of it being sold. One of the questions I ask every interviewee is, maybe the lesson that you taught that a kid would pay money to do again. And so, for example, Tara, chicken feed, and the mummified chicken. I mean, kids talk about that, they loved it. I mean, it was promoted, those types of things. And we have that happening in our schools. We just have to do a better job of selling that and marketing that kind of thing. So always out looking. I heard a lot about Pax Patterson Labs. We're a small school. Kids don't get exposure to what's out there in terms of maybe careers. And why do I have to go to school? Why is this important? So we spent this year and bought 10 Pax Patterson Labs. The modules are childcare, culinary, sports medicine, veterinary medicine, fashion design, criminology, drone technology, hospitality and tourism management, emergency fire management, graphics, computer graphics and game design and robotics. And they're hands-on labs where kids go to. They spend about 3 weeks in one of those labs and then they move on. So you have a course that people get into that's a semester long, they hate it, don't want to do it, so they don't. Here it's 3 weeks. You get to learn about it and then move on to something else that exposes them to a lot of different careers that they don't normally get exposed to. So I don't know if anybody else on this side on the coast that has some type of a lab situation. So that's a selling point I think it can be for us. Also, we first went down that avenue with Project Lead the Way, and that was a computer coding program that you could get jobs out of school, a lot of other things that were available, and then AI took all that away. They don't even teach it in school anymore. So this is the next avenue that I went to. We also have 3D computers, modular printing, that we have a new teacher that is in that program now, and kids are going bonkers. He has kids sneaking in his room, kids that come in at lunch, that are doing these different 3D printing things. And we also have a robotics thing that blew this kid's mind. I don't know a lot about the robotic stuff. And he goes, do you know what this thing does? Do you know what this? I'm like, oh. So in a couple of weeks, we'll have hoverboards in our gym and have hoverboard races that the kids are going bonkers over. I think these things are things that we can sell for our school that can attract something. You talked about Elkton. Elkton went with their charter and they picked ag, and that's their bag. That's their thing. When we had our charter, when we came, we were just a plain charter public school. We didn't have something, that thing to sell.
Brave Session.
And so, yeah, we had Brave Session. So I'm looking for things that could sell our school that other people don't have, that can attract people to come back to our school in that manner. And so those are some of the things that we do. And I think kids are more and more excited about it. They have things, movable parts that they're building in these 3D models and all sorts of things that kids are getting into. And we said we invite you to come. We have a plan for probably the next Brave Build. You want to talk about what we might be doing there?
So Brave Build session, we have to talk to a few teachers, but the plan is to get all of these labs, set them up in the cafeteria, and then invite the parents to come and work their way through the labs with a set of like scavenger hunt questions, and to really show off what these labs can do.
Yeah, this is actually a mandatory class for all freshmen. Because if you find something that you like, then you go, oh, this is why this math class is important, or this science class is important. And we are really close to being a CTE STEM school model. Our teachers are trying to, they're looking at other schools in mathematics, where it's integrated math, where it's more hands-on, more real-world problems, so they solve them, versus here's geometry and here's algebra. It's all integrated into that, but it's put into the real-world system. So when kids look at programs or careers, they can start making that pathway in their high school career to see why it is important.
Does this class take the credit for the half a credit for careers? Like, would we have to have, no?
Careers is junior level.
Well, I knew that, but I didn't know
No.
if Pax Patterson Exploring Careers could cover that option.
So the kid comes in as a freshman, wants to do robotics, mathematics, or require a certain level. As he progresses through, does that level of mathematics continue to improve, or does it stop at a certain, as in a junior? And then he's kind of not going any further with robotics, you know what I mean?
Right. Well, right now, since robotics is new and we haven't switched to the integrated math, math pretty much stops at algebra 2. I mean, we have a pre-calculus class. The thing that we are discovering is probably, I don't know the exact numbers, but it's 80% or higher of our students aren't four-year college students. They're hands-on, get out and do some stuff. And so trying to gear them towards that, but they stay away from chemistry, physics,
Well, is that a selling point?
What's that?
Isn't that a selling point?
That we're a
I
hands-on.
mean, you're not gonna be educated to go to a four-year school and then graduate work. You're gonna be educated to get a job, you're gonna work. Isn't that something that we should find as something that's available?
That's where
in the school?
the CTE focus is, and we're looking at being able to put that out and sell.
I'll buy that.
Do we know what our percentage is as far as how many actually go to like the hands-on or go to college? I mean, do we have, is there any numbers that show that?
That is historically tough to track for any school, because it does require a level of voluntary response back from the people doing it. And so the data is either always skewed or it's always incomplete. And every district I've been in has struggled with that. Yeah, it's tough to track kids when they start moving around outside of your district. Everybody tries, because that's important data to know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, I think
Trade
the school
schools.
definitely is.
Is this kind of a lead to trade school?
It can be. This is just kind of the intro lab of it. I was talking to Matt Smart. There's that whole other realm that you could get to, and I have to look it up on my phone because we were looking to go that way. For these labs. They have, here,
Jerry,
yes,
just a reminder about,
teachers' names, sorry. I can't find it right now, but it was anything from concrete work to electrician to wall, drywalling. All of that is contained in labs that kids can go through and learn that we are kind of doing in our shop classes right now.
drywalling?
What's that?
You do drywalling too? You got one.
Our teacher has, quit baiting me. Our teacher has put that together. There is a building that is at the football field that they've kind of remodeled and redone and everything in it. He's fixed his shop that way. They're either doing drywalling, he goes through all the circuits of everything. There's another one was plumbing. So all these trades that they can get introduced to in that is part of this, another part of the lab that we could go and explore.
That's great. I was being told, or I've been told from some people that when we started the charter school, we had more pre-college course classes than we do now. Is that true? I mean, is that something that when we start, do you know, I mean, when we started the charter school, we offered more pre-college course classes than what we do currently. Is that true?
I don't know when it started. When I got here, we had several of the teachers, I think 3 or 4 of them, offered dual enrollment through SWAC, I believe. And then we had an advanced coursework. I can't remember the name of. You don't get credit for it. AP, thank you. Looks kind of good on your transcript. We don't have any of those anymore. We had calculus, and we don't have that anymore. We're down to pre-calculus. We've had to build from skills from below, so we have a pre-algebra we never had before.
When you're considering those courses, when you start getting to a point when you've only got 3 kids in a class, you have to weigh the value of, is that the best section to offer when you're having to consolidate places? And if we can get a student online, and an online teacher, they can do calculus or whatever online, get that credit that they need at that level, but it doesn't take an entire teacher for a class period to occupy that space.
So it's an option for.
It's generally available, it is a direct class offering.
Because I don't think that parents know that, because I've heard several say to me that, well, we don't even offer those classes anymore, so my student doesn't, my child doesn't go here anymore because they want to take nursing, for example, and we don't offer that. But it sounds like that's something that we possibly do offer, it's just through a different avenue. So we're not promoting that?
So one of our high school success conversations with ODE has been, how do you promote that equitable assignment to advanced coursework? And so that is on our list of action plans here, that we're going to figure out how to do that. We need to be talking to parents, letting them know that those are options, and just so that it's kind of confusing, but I just want to point out that those online programs that John just mentioned, they're taught, like a student can go through a traditional school day and then have one period where they go into a classroom and they work on that one online class with a teacher present, so we know that they're not cheating with their cell phones. And so I just want to explain that difference when we say online program. It's not like these other ones where we just like lose the kids.
Yeah, so it's like that at the school, it's a period, it's what in their class period.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I think that's great if we can promote that, because I think a lot of people, parents in the town, I mean, not a lot, but I didn't know that.
It seemed like that was one of the reasonings why some kids have left, because other schools were offering the pre-college courses. So if it's something that we are able to do too, then that could change somebody's plan.
That's not everybody, but yeah, if we can promote that, definitely.
But we don't know what percentage of it. To me, it seems more blue collar here than it does
It definitely is blue collar.
college, right? It's a problem, there's no college around here.
But not everybody. You have students who are highly capable of high math and AP courses, and so we want to offer that to them. And it's important for their next step in college, just like if you were going on a boat tech or a vocational, you need to do your steps. We need to be able to offer this to prepare them so they can be an engineer.
And the way to do that is what John said, is
Exactly.
online.
Right.
So we can offer that,
Without the brick and mortar and the body.
and then they would get credit for that class.
We have the body, we have a teacher in there to make sure they're doing it. We're just not, that teacher is responsible to make sure that online programming is what the kids are on, not the actual instruction. Right. And they're not Googling the answers or those.
And we have SWAT classes available as well, there are kids that do those.
We're going to start promoting that. Now, we have about half an hour left in our session, guys. Just to give you a heads up over a time frame.
Was it this last year or 2 years ago, our graduating class probably had a higher percentage of students who were attending college, university right away. So we do get apples and oranges. One year a graduating class might be more blue collar as a group, and then the following year it might be more of a college university pathway. The groups of kids going through, it's apples and oranges every year. And so we need to stay flexible, because we're always going to have to kind of respond to who we have, and setting a definite pathway isn't going to work. You know, each group of kids is so unique. But as we get smaller and as we consolidate, flexibility gets tougher and tougher.
Okay, so what about ODE accountability?
I ran through that. That's just, I gave them a summary of the.
Okay. All right. Gary, got any more?
My last thing is the house system. I think everybody here, I've explained the house system.
We need to get our newest member.
Oh, Chris, you're going to
Hazing.
You only knew.
Bring it back.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to forewarn you, next board meeting, we will have a wheel, you'll spin it, and it will decide for you which house you are in. And, we have these. Yeah, most of the board is Haruma, it's just how it happens.
Yeah.
So, we need to.
Empathy.
We.
I think that may have changed, because I think Tim and I are green.
Both in the greenhouse. I know.
Is that it?
But I think prior, the whole board was red, except maybe one.
Yeah, and, I don't think that we've had a Canasmia or a Determinaso yet.
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
Okay, so that happens and then I'm officially
Then you're one.
in.
You're gonna be
Fraternity or whatever.
Yeah. Okay,
I'll do it.
okay, very cool.
Can we get a shirt?
Yeah, we give you
Oh,
a
the-
t-shirt.
Well,
Yeah.
it's
All right, I'll wear it.
That's because we're in Hizelig, and Hizelig ran out of shirts because there's so many in his.
Oh,
So maybe what we should do the
What's
next
the-
meeting,
this-
we all wear our
the
shirts.
wheels
to the meeting.
rigged or something? and-
Next board meeting.
It's supposed to
Not
not.
random?
It's random. The wheel chooses you.
It's lots to be in the same house as them.
So, yeah, we have these 4 houses, they represent core values that we promote in our school. And I have learned recently, looking at technology, that we can theoretically send a link to each parent. And that parent can get an app on their phone where they can look at their own students' house points. And I know my daughter, I'd definitely be tracking her house points. So I think that's a good way to get parents involved and excited about it and get the word out that we're doing this. So
Is
that's
this a sign when they're freshmen or something, or?
Seventh grade.
Oh, as soon as they go into.
yeah, in 7th grade, and
Do they spin the wheel too?
they do.
They do. that's good.
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting day, house sorting day. And when the kids are in class, the teachers have a certain amount of points they can give out each day. So if I call on you, Chris, and I ask a question, you answer it beautifully, that's a house point.
Can I trade those in at the end of the year then for
Try to take-
little knickknacks or Amazon points or no?
We haven't done that yet, but
Yeah,
it's not a bad
that sounds
idea.
like a bad
They
idea.
get a party and they get bragging rights, and right now that's, and they get,
that's working for them, they just want to be the winners.
Who's,
they want to be the winners, and they
Haruma is the.
current winner, yeah, current winners, and then they also get cupcakes in their house colors. And I'm really wanting, I'm Determinaso, and so I really want to see those black cupcakes. Since his teeth would be stained, it would be awesome.
Are those presented at an assembly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something that, we, as parents, we could come and
Oh, yeah.
watch
The first
And
game.
the last game is a game they play in the auditorium?
Oh, the gym kick.
Gym
So we
kick,
set
yeah.
them up all on one educational video game. And they play, and they have reps from each class, and the kids play the video game on the big screen in front of each other. And it's all questions that they have learned in their classes throughout the year. And it's pretty intense.
It's pretty intense. You can see the guy's going up like this, he's winning, he misses a point, he falls down like, oh no!
Yeah,
It's
the whole lot.
It's really kind of fun.
Yeah.
It's also fun that first day when kids are getting into that.
That is our soft start, 7th, 8th graders. So the 8th graders know what's happening, the 7th graders are definitely into it.
Do they, like, it'll ask them, when you're appointed a house or in 7th grade, it lasts you through your whole, or is it yearly? Okay, you're in that house
Yep.
for.
Until you like the third pop kind of like all the way through.
Okay.
You'll forever be that.
So you assign you a house and you have attendance issues. Does the house hold you accountable?
Well, that you can get house points, so at the end of the month, you could have a pizza party, and that house that has the best attendance that month could have a pizza party.
And get some points.
We've been talking about other ways
So
in which
there's
to do
some
that.
shame involved there.
We're coming around, Bob, we're coming around.
I was thinking maybe we post who has the most coins, right? Who has the lowest coins, and then everybody else will go, man, oh, that's right, the lowest coins.
Well, they could do that in advisory, like at the 7th and 8th grade level, because they are in their houses for 7th and 8th grade. So they could,
If the first and second place team house, if they're close, and we put in a point for them, and somebody bumps to first, a dragon comes out, and the dragon lights the other banner on fire, and then they scoot around, and the kids are like, yeah! So it's pretty exciting.
You gotta meet them where they're at.
Do the houses have pretty even numbered? Because at some point, right, that'll take over, and you're like, you got
the
20 kids
wheel
currently by
starts,
there.
they tell how many the wheel can, and then as that house fills, it takes that option off.
Oh. So can we earn points for our house too?
You all have 2 points today, buddy. You've done such a good job. Yeah.
You might want to put that in.
Yeah.
We put it in.
Let's see if it'll change.
Okay, let's see if we can.
Next meeting, I got no points.
He wants his 2 points.
Oh, yeah, okay. We want
Reserve. They won this last year, so.
And let's not kidding.
I'm gonna have to ask my child what house he's in. She'd be in competition with him, I know. What color are you?
You'd be surprised, they all know. Like, they all know. It's, even like my kids that struggle can tell you at least the color of
The
their
color of that.
Okay. So
And the teachers are in it too?
Yes, everybody.
That's fine.
Oh, we're gonna have Mariah learning. Hire, if we get to hire.
What's next, boss?
I think Chris.
She's trying to give us points.
I am trying to give us, if we want to move on to the next bit here, we can, and I'll pull this up.
What is the next? We're out of your presentation.
Since we're in a real quick, waiting for Tara, to the point we're doing the appreciation lunches at the end of this, March. So here's a thought. We can either do all the prep work and stuff and do everything ourselves, or an option would be to cater. And we've had, I believe, one of the Mexican restaurants has catered in the past, is what I've been told, and then I think it was Don's Diner has done that in the past too. So,
I did do letters just for here, but if we're wanting to do that way, I can say
well,
thank
that's
you.
what I was
but-
gonna, that's your expertise.
Or maybe even changing it, I mean, I don't know, they could still maybe do something, maybe a dessert or something like that if they're willing to do. I just requested perhaps, well, I put that we were doing a taco bar, so either donating supplies that would go to that or a gift card. With like the basketball baskets that we did, the stores just did gift cards, so I was assuming maybe it would be that way that we could use some for maybe something else, but I can always update them if we.
Well, I was just thinking, you know, a lot of people are working and stuff and busy otherwise, that maybe that might be an avenue for this first time around, would be to cater. So if that's something you guys think you would like to consider.
Want me to write my check right now?
Cindy, I was gonna ask
Do you want to cater, Kim?
since Cindy's so good at it, maybe contacting one or both and see if they would be willing to cater and what the cost would be.
And Sophie, I think, is pretty good about helping, you know, trying to do it as
Reasonable?
reasonable. I think
Yeah.
that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, and then the board would.
Could you give me, I'll happily reach out and call, but could you maybe give me numbers for each kind
We're
of?
looking at a total of, I think, 100 employees, I think.
So like for each day? 50?
Total for the
No,
district?
total for the district.
Okay,
So it'd be like 50 for Highland, 50 for the
Okay.
CCS. So that would be the numbers that,
But Sharman just said it took her 3 days to prep all the food,
Yeah.
the groceries and everything,
Yeah.
so it's a commitment in time.
yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
big commitment in time. So that's something you guys think you might want to do. In the
Okay.
past,
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind reaching out either one, sorry,
in the
Bonnie.
past, well, that's okay. In the past, all the board members have contributed monetary funds to help offset
Okay.
costs.
The new guy has to contribute the majority of it.
Yes.
Send me a bill.
I'm gonna reach out to them and then I'll
He's gonna start punching the numbers here in a minute.
So if you wouldn't mind doing that, Cindy, and then
Yes.
getting some numbers for us, and then we can make a decision.
Okay.
Maybe even, we have another meeting next Saturday.
And we're thinking maybe Soul Day or like Dawn's, or you want me to just
Yeah.
call every business, or just, that's the main?
Let's just make it simple
Okay.
this first time around.
Let's just do try Soul Day.
Soul Day first,
Yeah.
since we kind of read this, okay.
Yeah.
And then I'll just tell them,
That's
yeah, okay. Okay, yes,
How did you get the letters to?
I just did local, so it's just Safeway McKay's.
Yeah, so I mean, even they can provide desserts for us, that would be great. I mean,
Well, that's
Yeah,
pretty
and I
good.
can always, I mean, I can just update a letter too, just to say, we've gone a different route, if you could help us out with maybe some desserts or.
Perfect.
Each kind of has their own little like bakery thing where they can at least even bring in. So yes, I will do a little update and let you know.
Okay, thank you. And we do have a meeting next Saturday, OSBA training, yes. Yes.
Cost and. What is I bringing on?
I'll be thinking.
Are daiquiris okay?
Do they, we don't provide the drinks, do we? Do they?
Usually it's been just water. We've provided water, is that correct, Sharman?
Yeah.
Yeah, just have, bottles, cases of water.
Okay, I mean, I can put that in the letters too for the stores, drinks.
Yeah. Sure.
Or are we good with just doing?
I think we just do water.
Okay.
I mean, everybody needs to drink the water anyway.
Okay.
And a couple of years ago, we did like bottled waters, and then we set out like those drink.
Like flavor packets.
Flavor packets,
Oh.
and people can.
That's a good idea. Well, it's staff, we did have margarita.
I feel like that's an option.
Middle of the day margarita sounds
All right,
excellent.
we have 15 more minutes, guys, so, Kara?
As a teacher at RCCS, as an educator at RCCS, I have an app on my phone. All the teachers have access to this app either on their phones or through the computers. I have a choice of putting in something as good citizenship, academic excellence, or good effort. So those are the categories I can choose. I put in academic excellence. You won't see Bonnie or Bob's name on the flags here yet because I don't have them listed as student winners, but you should see the Haruma flag change here as I slide this. We might have to update it. Refresh it. It works
Do the
better on.
students know they're getting them? They have like a way to track
We
their.
tell them,
Oh,
and they can,
they can track their own.
can they track their own?
points?
They can, there it is. So, and I'll put it on our Zillow next. So they can potentially get the app, but we don't want them using their phones either. So they're constantly though asking to see them. I can look up, I won't right now, but I can look up a particular students will ask me to pull up their point scores. And so I can look that up for them. And they're constantly asking, can we have it displayed? Can we have it displayed? Because when teachers are in other rooms and putting in points, they're like, someone got one for determined also. They like this thing in the background while they're doing their work.
And there's a way in which, if we had certain TV maybe in the library or the office, this would display, and where you see the little circle thing, you can put their pictures in there.
That's that needs to go on Community Plus too, because it could start a conversation between families. And look, if, the kids say.
Or a
so.
fight.
What we tried, but we could, I think we could do like the top, group at the top, I don't think we could put the kids
Right.
out in the
But
community.
that's really cool, just to be able, then it starts to infiltrate community.
Also, we've handed out house points for things like increased MAP scores. So to really get those students to concentrate on the class and increasing their own scores and taking pride in that. So there's some things that we offer more points for than we would normally.
But their names pop up on the bottom, right? Is that what I'm seeing?
Well, the last 4 points will pop up on the bottom. The last 4 awarded points, Bonnie and Bob's didn't because they're not in there as students. But if I give a student a house point, it'll change which student is up there.
Oh, so you do that, good job for those kids.
Great, that's cool.
So with those 4 changed, they changed throughout, like if we were in school right now and somebody gave,
Somebody got one.
Yeah,
it would change.
They would be changing constantly.
I had the opportunity to visit Tara in her determination den there at RCCS here a few weeks ago. And she had it set up, and it's not sterile like a classroom. It's very cozy. She uses like she's got a kitchen table and dining tables and stuff and hutches, for the pantry and stuff. So the students can sit where they want to sit and not feel like they're being in a classroom.
Is that where the video was
Yeah,
in?
I was gonna say the backdrop of the video was.
Yeah, and they have and she's got different areas set up for the different houses, and she's in the process of doing a lot of painting and upgrading and stuff, and a lot of good things are happening. We just need to get it out there.
3D print should be more than just your dragon. An elephant shark.
Well, that's coming. Hopefully, it's in our, we have the 4 colors on the wall in the junior high commons. And we have a metal CNC machine that we're going to put, hopefully those crests up on.
I just knew that she was getting a 3D printed dragon.
Yes, she is.
So yeah, and I have a presentation coming up on the determination day in 2 weeks, so I'll be talking about more in detail about that and some good initiatives. It's not just a space, it's kind of a movement, I would call it. Yeah.
Very proactive. Okay, anybody got anything?
So what's the deal? Do we have to stay till the end?
Until the clock strikes noon.
I mean, really?
I think we can.
Is there a reason why people have to stay?
If you're wrapping up, packets in front of you have some stamped confidential directives before you leave.
Stay here.
So confidential, make sure you stay in the room, please.
So if is everybody satisfied for today?
What's next? I think for me, I learned stuff about what the educators are doing that I didn't know. And I don't think the community knows. So from the whole point of being here is awareness, right? So we need to get that word out.
Right.
But we still haven't addressed other issues, housing, city council,
Well, that'll probably come to strategic planning.
And your regular board meetings. Your work sessions, your learning opportunities to take action in your board meetings and to the direction in your board meetings and to, now we know, now we are informed, therefore we're doing this.
Okay, so, board members, next Saturday, for SBA training at 9 o'clock here. Here, First Square. It's 3 hours. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, I think I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I
I'm assuming, Bonnie, that's what you wanted to discuss after.